Good morning, my people. What you doing? All right. You having a good day? Everybody's panicking because he can't get on. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Took me a bit of time to focus, as they say in the trade. But anyway, we're on now, so there you go. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me just close these shutters and get a little bit better light on the job. So, there you go. There that goes. There that goes. So, we're all okay this morning. It is, of course, Saturday, the 23rd of the 5th, 2026, of course, which means that it is a 5-5 day. 2 and 3 go 5, and 5 is the month, which is 5. Now, very interesting, very interesting. We'll come to that in a bit. But first of all, let's have a quick hello to everybody. We've got, of course, Shepard's in, Phil's in, Graham's in, Vanessa's joining us today as well, Diane Williamson's in, Glenn Pearson's in, Valerie Mooney's joining us, Jackie J's in, Yvonne Keeley's in, New Life's in, Joyce Guest is in, Jason Thomas is joining us, Bender Corcoran, Jen Misa, Kira's in from Irish Shire, Andrea Briggs is in, and Ann Taylor's in, Smarties is in as well. So good morning, everybody. Hope we're all okay. We've got, what do we got for today? Well, Kevin Walsh apparently joins the Federal Reserve on, of course, the day of the Pentecost. I've got no idea what that means biblically, but I'll do a little bit of research on it later for you. So very, very interesting. What else have we got? Now, Donald Trump, this is quite an interesting one, actually. First of all, a couple of days ago, we had Donald Trump saying that there was going to be an assassination attempt on Ivanka Trump, which is quite an interesting one. This, of course, comes on the back of the fake assassination of Donald Trump. Now, if you believe for any moment that the fake assassination of Donald Trump was true, then, of course, you've got another thing coming. However, you need to be very aware that it might not have been the Donald Trump. It could have been another Donald Trump. So it actually leads us to all kinds of things. Now, as well, that happened, the bullet that was shot into Donald Trump's lug hole didn't actually match the rifle, and there was all kinds of anomalies. Now, it's a little bit like the Princess Diana tunnel. There were all kinds of anomalies going on, and so leads us to believe all kinds of things. So the fact that Ivanka Trump is faced with an assassination attempt is very, very interesting. We also have to remember that I'm just being reminded that, of course, the Pentecost, whatever you want to call it, is, of course, 50 days after Easter. So we could say here we've got a 5-5-5 day. That's very interesting, isn't it? So anyway, we'll take it from there. Donald Trump has also apparently had to rush back to the White House on important governmental business. Now, of course, this is Donald Trump Jr. Is getting married. I'm not sure whether it's the first time or what it is, but he's getting married. And, of course, Donald Trump won't be there. Now, that's actually quite an interesting sort of scenario or move, should we say. Yorkshire tea, Yorkshire tea, Yorkshire tea, say no more. Now, that is a very interesting move that Donald Trump is making. Now, we're not quite sure what that's going to lead to, what it actually means. We're not going to make any predictions because it's a waste of fucking time. But what we are going to say is that it isn't a very interesting move. Now, you would have thought that most fathers, I would say all fathers, want to be present at their son's wedding or daughter's wedding, should we say, or grandchild's wedding, because it's quite an important thing from a family point of view. So whatever is happening, and there is a lot of stuff going on, we of course have the situation still ongoing in the Hormuz Strait, etc., etc. And then there's the Ukrainian contract. Ukrainian contract? What are you talking about, Mark? The Ukrainian conflict that is still going on. Now, apparently, a few days ago, Russia was actually bombed by the Ukraine. And this was done using Britain. So Britain, Europe, Israel, and probably some other countries basically bombed Russia. And they used, of course, UK drones. And no matter how you look at it, this means that Britain actually bombed Russia. Now, I don't know about you, but bombing Russia doesn't seem to be a very clever idea, unless, of course, you are complete and utter twat and an idiot. But, of course, that's the people that are actually running the world, or actually think that they are running the world when they are typically and clearly not running the world. So, and this thing that happened was the bombing of a Russian college, which means that I would imagine that young people were maybe killed and injured in this particular bombing. However, I would imagine that it's going to be billed as Russia bombing Ukraine to spread the narrative. And then, of course, we've got the situation in on the Hormuz Strait, which seems to be enveloping somewhat. We also found out as well that Iran, Iran is, of course, being run by the Vatican. Now, that is actually not surprising at all, unless, of course, you are a religious guru. A very interesting one. Now, we know that we've got three arms of the deep state. So we've got the US rogue military. We've then got deep state. Then we've got the Vatican, which controls the religion, etc., around the world. And when we talk about religion, we're not just talking about Catholicism. Oh, no. We're talking about every single fucking religion. Then, of course, we've got London. Now, London, of course, is the finance apparatus of the world. The Vatican is the not only the paedophile apparatus of the world, but, of course, also the religious of the world. And then, of course, the US rogue military, which happens to be the third arm of the deep state. The deep state, of course, are definitely running Iran. And it will come as no surprise that the UK are involved in this. Israel are involved in it. European countries are involved in it. And it runs fairly consistently if you can actually join the dots. The problem, of course, is that not many people can join the dots, which is rather a shame, really. Iran is what we call a proxy country, which means that it could be actually a company as well. Iran is a proxy country, basically sort of set up or installed to create a narrative which people kind of can follow, but they don't really know what's actually going under the radar. The same with Israel. Israel is a proxy country where, of course, the Jewish people are used as a kind of a scapegoat to do all kinds of atrocities. So yeah, very interesting. Now as well, royal news. Apparently Harry and Meghan are on the verge of splitting. Meghan apparently is wildly inconsistent with, of course, Harry, which is quite an interesting one. Anyway, and then, of course, we come to the other royal story, which is, of course, Prince Andrew. Now, Prince Andrew is once again being pulled up in regards to malfeasance in public office, fraud, corruption, trafficking, paedophilia, fucking hell, you name it, that boy's got it. However, we have to entertain the idea that Andrew could be the scapegoat for the royal story. Also remember, of course, that Prince William, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, they're all involved in it. Fergie, Andrew, I don't quite know how far down the tree it goes. I would imagine it goes fairly well down the tree, if not all the way down the tree. So that's quite an interesting one. We've also got the anniversary of Lee Rigby. If you remember Lee Rigby, you could hardly forget Lee Rigby. This was the massacre, really, of a soldier on the streets of London a few years ago. And then, of course, we've got a guy called Henry Nowak. Now, Henry was basically stabbed to death, and it appears that the police looked on in some kind of a way that you look on. I don't quite know how that works or what it means. But the boys in blue are not really making a good representation of themselves in regards to the people. Now, of course, when the people do find out about, of course, the way that the British police have been conducting themselves, there is going to be rather a large angry presence that is going to form. And I would imagine that these people won't be allowed to, or won't be walking the streets, including, of course, our politicians and people that are supposedly in power. We are particularly looking at councillors as well. We're talking about people like Andy Burnham. We're talking about Ben Houchin in Teesside area. We're talking about many, many people that are involved in the mega corruption that takes place right in front of your nose. But of course, most people can't see it. Luckily, that's why we were born. We were born to spread the word. We were born to share information. We were born to join the dots. And we were certainly born to upset the fucking apple cart. And yes, that apple cart is spilling its apples all over the place. Now, going back to Henry, because of course I've just digressed there, which is not sometimes very good. There was another young man who killed Henry, called Vikram Dugan. Now, I got no idea who Vikram Dugan is, and to be honest, I don't really care. I don't really want to give him the time of my attention. However, it needs to be spoken. Now, Vikram decided that he was going to use the term self-defense. And he used this term in a very interesting way. And if you understand what self-defense means, you will understand what I'm actually talking about in regards to this situation. Now, Henry was attacked by Vicaron. Vicaron admitted that he attacked Henry and stabbed him and killed him. However, he claimed that it was self-defense because he thought that Henry was going to take his knife and use that knife to kill him, which is rather an interesting admission, so to speak. Now, when we come to the law on self-defense, being a martial art chappie myself, with a few belts under my skin, so to speak, self-defense is basically self-explanatory. Self-defense means to defend oneself during an attack or an implication. This is the law, by the way. So if you are defending yourself from an attack, then of course you are fully within your rights to use reasonable force. Reasonable force can of course be interpreted in different ways. However, in this case, the attacker, Victoram, claimed that he attacked. He attacked Henry. So he actually admitted that he attacked Henry. Henry didn't attack him. Vicaram attacked Henry, then tried to claim self-defense. This is going to be very interesting when this actually goes to court. He was also carrying a ceremonial knife. This is Victoram. He was carrying a ceremonial Sikh knife. Apparently, you can carry these things, I don't know, it's all down to religion and bollocks. But it means, to me personally, it means that it's a fucking knife. Whether it's ceremonial, it doesn't fucking matter. I mean, I could kind of carry around a samurai sword because I could claim I was a fucking ninja, you know? Would I get away with that? I don't think so. So that is the difference. So self-defense needs to be basically really, really understood when it comes to the law. And of course, once again, here we have Sharia law coming in. Very interesting indeed that this Sharia thing seems to be raising its ugly head. And that's why self-defense is, of course, self-defense. It has nothing to do with attacking people. It has nothing to do with mugging people. It has nothing to do with knifing people at all. It is simply self-explanatory. And then we come on to the Tulsi Gabbard situation. Quite interesting one, this one. Tulsi Gabbard apparently has stepped down. She just happens to be Director of National Intelligence, and she has stepped down because her husband apparently has some form of degenerative cancer. Now, I'm not too sure what's actually going on here, but there seems to be quite a lot of resignations over and around the Epstein files. Now, you can, of course, draw your own conclusion, and everybody has their own opinion, which, of course, they are entitled to. Remember, opinions are just like arses. Everyone has one. So, why she stepped down, how she stepped down, the reason that she stepped down, nobody really knows, only Tulsi. So there could be an assassination threat there. There could be some threat of some kind that we don't know about. Maybe she's being protected. I don't know. Maybe she's got to the truth. I don't know. Anyway, this, of course, also runs along the lines of Pam Bondi. Now, Pam Bondi had a similar role. apparently removed by Donald Trump for some particular reason that we haven't got to the bottom of yet. And with all the speculation going around, it's still all up in the air. What else have we got for you today? Let's have a look at that. Oh yeah, now this weekend, 2,000 men of a certain character, inclination, and gang members will float across the channel on lilos, rubber dinghies, flamingos, peblos, and some of them might even be picked up by the RNLI. Sadly, the RNLI have lost 50% of their donations due to the fact that they seem to be helping these very unusual characters that are coming to the UK. Now, there has been reports that the RNLI are also picking up flotillas of weapons, hand grenades, stun guns, AK-47s from Somalia, as well as these undocumented criminal young men. And nobody, of course, seems to do anything about it. And then, of course, we have Alex Norris. Now, Alex Norris just happens to have the title of the UK Security Minister. Unfortunately, Alex Norris hasn't really read the remit for the job. While, of course, 2,000 men are going to pour into the UK this weekend. Now, I'm not quite sure whether that's true or not. I do know, however, that 2,000 men could easily be flown into Manchester Airport because they have their own transport hub. They have their own security hub. Very interesting. The fact that the small boat people are used as an excuse, I would say, is some form of a deflection. Let's get everything away from Manchester and let's get everything focused on Dover and, of course, the rubber dinghies. Interesting one, that one. Anyway, back to Alex. Now, Alex gets paid around about £130,000 a year to keep Britain safe. Unfortunately, Alex doesn't keep Britain safe, and for me personally, this means that Alex doesn't understand his job. Now, we think that Alex should come under should come under the performance-related pay rules and regulations, okay? And if he did, of course, he wouldn't get fuck all. Now, don't forget, of course, Alex is also quite happy to claim ministerial money, of course, for staffing, office space, travel, beer, cheese, onions, wine. Need I say more? So, in actual fact, Alex's salary of £130,000 gets spent on Alex, not on anything else. Oh, and did you also think that he paid tax on 130? No. MPs do not pay taxes. You need to really open your eyes and understand this very simple rule. MPs do not pay tax. MPs get special mortgages if they actually do get a mortgage. The houses are probably given to them anyway, and they just live there as furniture, so to speak. And, of course, furniture that is, of course, doing a specific job to take the piss, of course, out of the English people and, of course, the people around the world. But, of course, Alex is not getting away from the fruit and nut radar because it's that way inclined. Now, also remember, we do have to consider, remember when we consider the news, we also have to consider the alternative news in regards to stories, revelations, etc., etc., etc. This, of course, is classed as a double whammy. Okay. Now, we could assume that all of the men that are coming into the UK are going to come here to implement Sharia law. We could also assume that they are going to cause a lot of havoc while they're in the UK. And that could be the case. However, what we also need to consider very seriously is that due to the fact that we've got a very corrupt government, we've got a very corrupt system, we've got very corrupt judges, we've got very corrupt police, we've also got a very corrupt military, we have to take into consideration that these men could be from a, should we say, humanitarian force that is going to military take over the UK in order to implement Jisara Nasara and get rid of Sharia law, and also, should we say, bring about the changes that we need. Because let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you right now that, and I'm going to make a prediction, Keir Starmer will not step down. Tony Blair will not step down. Gordon Brown will not step down. Margaret Thatcher, she won't step down either. Who else have we got? Let's have a think. Angela Rayner, she's not going to step down. Mahmood, she's not going to step down. Lindsay Hoyle, the Speaker of the House, he's not going to step down. The bad military are not going to step down. The bad judges are not going to step down. The bad policemen are not going to step down. The bad security services are not going to step down. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that these people are going to have to be removed from office. And they are going to have to be removed just like the royals are going to have to be removed, and just like the government are going to have to be removed, and just like the corrupt system is going to have to be removed. So it's entirely up to you what you think. I'm not really bothered because it doesn't really affect me. But we have to consider all kinds of different options in this very, should we say, information creating world. Anyway, now, earlier yesterday, police attended a property in Westminster where an individual, an occupant, was creating civil unrest, racial division, anti-Semitism, creating poverty, death, fraud, corruption, and, of course, national security issues. Keir Starmer was led away to the nearest police station. He was giving a very severe spanking by the Westminster police, apparently, and they also had a very stiff word with him. I bet they did. They also issued a warning to him about the Ukrainian rent boys that were going to bite him in the bum, literally, and they advised him to step down from his post and leave the country for Antarctica very quickly. That was an interesting one. Now, meanwhile, of course, we're going to talk about a guy called Bill Winters. Bill Winters happens to be a CEO. Now, you would have thought that the CEO of a company would be quite intelligent and would be quite appreciative of his workers, employees. But no, not Bill. Bill seems to have a very interesting view on the people that actually give him the money that he actually apparently earns in regards to his massive salary for a company called Standard Chartered Banking. Now, Standard Chartered Banking, I would imagine his salary is going to be somewhere in the region of millions of pounds or dollars, whatever you want to call it. But he has a certain label for his employees and the people that work for him. He classes these people as low-value human capital. Yes, I'm going to read that again. Bill Winters, the CEO of Standard Chartered Bankruptcy, classes you as low-value human capital, just like I would imagine Keir Starmer looks out of his little window on a morning and thinks of you in exactly the same way. Low-value human capital. So there you go. From the horse's mouth, that's what they think of you. And very interestingly enough, we happen to have 33 people in the house. Meanwhile, of course, going back to the corruption, the voter fraud corruption in America, we did speak about this yesterday, I think it was, where the DOJ had created a $1.8 billion wealth fund to, of course, pay all the victims, who were wrongly jailed, accused, and indicted by, of course, the Biden administration. Let's hope some of that wealth fund transfers itself to the UK. It's also a very interesting word called wealth fund. Not something that I would use, but I would probably call it a compensation fund, maybe. But a wealth fund is very interesting. Sounds very much like the Norwegian wealth fund, 1.7 trillion. There's that 17 again. Interestingly enough. Anyway, back to what I was saying. In regards to the DOJ, in regards to the insurrection thing that took place on January the 6th, as you well know, where many people got arrested and all kinds of shit went on. And it seems as though now the insurrection thing of January the 6th is now coming to the streets of Manchester, Thameside to be exact. Now, this, of course, is the Andy Burnham miracle city that seems to have taken over. So here we have 5 Labour people have been arrested for voter corruption. Absolutely fucking hilarious that they just happen to be Labour supporters. Well, what could possibly go wrong with that? This, of course, is on the back of having what's his name, Zach Palensky, as some form of a gay canvassing fucking whatever, and then we've got Hannah the plumber, also a plasterer by trade as well. Looks like she might be going back to those trades very shortly. Let's hope she's better at that than she is at fucking politics. Interestingly enough, actually, that was quite now let's I'm not a big fan of Anna, but let's just give credit where it's due. Anna was recently at a meeting in Westminster, I think it was. I don't know, maybe Prime Minister's Question Time's not quite sure. But she was actually calling out the outrageous practice of MPs drinking, during their time, when they're supposed to be in Parliament. As you well know, they get free bars and all that shit that goes on, and subsidised meals. I mean, a 4-course meal, 5-course meal in Westminster costs about 50 pence. So it's actually cheap as shit. And, of course, if you are bumming, fucking, Keir Starmer, your food is actually free of charge. So, yeah, very, very interesting that is happening. Now, Hannah called this out, and she was really heckled by a woman called Sarah Pochin. Now, Sarah Pochin is apparently one of the Reform candidates. So here we have a Reform candidate pulling down someone else who was actually pointing out that, well, shouldn't MPs not be drinking during their working day, etc., etc., etc. There's no wonder, of course, if alcohol is involved, drugs will be involved, weed will be involved, and all kinds of other toxic substances will be involved as well. So there's no wonder the country is absolutely fucked up the arse, because, of course, these twats can't make a proper decision based on running the country. And then, of course, we have a young lady called Sasha Obama. This happens to be Barack Obama's daughter. Well, allegedly daughter. We're not quite sure about this because, of course, Barack Obama was invented from Sadiq al-Bin Salman, whatever you want to fucking call his name. And he came over from Israel or wherever he came over and installed himself apparently as president, which is quite an interesting one. CIA, I would imagine, are involved in that. Maybe the FBI. MI5, MI6, etc., etc. Apparently from Saudi, I'm feeling in my bones. Now, Sasha actually supports Donald Trump in her political sort of support, and which is quite interesting. Now, you would have thought that the daughter of Barack Obama would, of course, support her father. No, not quite the case. She supports Donald Trump. Now, actually, I don't blame her. First of all, Barack Obama is a raging gay man who happens to enjoy the company of young children and also younger men. You will, of course, believe it or not, think that Michelle Obama is, of course, a woman, but in actual fact, it's not. It's a man. I don't know what kind of flavour that man is, and I don't really care to find out. But Michelle Obama is definitely a man. Apparently, from various White House parties that I've attended, Michelle Obama is very, very well endowed. We've seen this on a couple of dancing videos via TikTok, not, of course, the ones rolled out by the NHS, but, of course, TikTok. Now, you can clearly see the very large appendage rattling around in the very loose white trousers. And if you do need to clean your glasses to see this, well, your glasses must be very, very fucking dirty. So the question that we've got really is to ask this: what does Sasha know that you don't know? I would imagine quite a lot. Anyway, we shall wait and see. Meanwhile, for all you Israeli supporters, a little bit of a heads up to all you Israeli supporters. This, of course, is a shout out to, of course, the Friends of Israel in the Labour Party, Angela Rayner, West Streeting, Keir Starmer, etc., etc. You know the drill. They're all fucking at it. They're all fucking friends of Israel. And there's a reason why they're friends with Israel, because, of course, Israel, of course, runs the UK. Israel is probably running Iran. Israel is probably running all kinds of other fucking places as well that we don't even know about yet, but we will get to find out. And so for all you people that are supporting Israel and thinking that Israel, of course, is the promised land and that the Israeli people are the promised people of God, well, we've got really another thing coming to you. the people of God, the said people of God, apparently the appointed people, the chosen people. These are the. Let me tell you a little bit about the kind of people that are frequenting Israel. So, these people gather on a weekend, a Saturday and a Sunday. It doesn't really matter what it is. They gather in public places. Not unusual, you might think, for a pizza, maybe. No, they're not having a pizza. Well, they are having a pizza, but it's not the pizza you're thinking of. And they gather in public places and they celebrate. They celebrate with beer and wine, and they have a bit of food and they have a laugh, and they watch a screen. And they watch a screen and they laugh and they enjoy it. And this screen is filming the killing and the bombing of not only Palestinian people in the Gaza or the West Bank, whatever you want to call it, but they are also laughing at the fact that Israeli Defense League or organization, whatever you want to call them, soldiers. I wouldn't call them soldiers, I'd just call them animals. These animals are basically shooting children that are basically queuing up for food. And apparently they get paid for shooting them in the head, shooting them in the chest, blowing their leg off or their arm off or whatever they want to feel is free for the flavor of that particular day. And the Israeli people that are gathered in these public places are seen to be cheering and enjoying the spectacle of other human beings dying and being killed, raped and shot. And so for anybody that is supporting Israel right now at this particular moment in time, what the Fruit Nut News say to you is fuck right off, because you're cunts. And I don't use that word very often. But anyway, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you all enjoyed it. We will, of course, see you again a bit later on, maybe tonight. Not quite sure. Depends what the day goes and what happens during the day. We got sort of what we're talking. It's not massively warm. It was yesterday in the Teesside area, the northeast of England. The sun is trying to get out today. It's bright and cheerful, a little bit breezy, a little bit cooler than it was yesterday. But apart from that, absolutely incredible weather, and something that we are going to enjoy. And so it is, of course, Bank Holiday weekend, as you well know, and very, very interesting times to be alive on planet Earth. And we will be interested to see the outcome of everything that's happens. Anyway, have a great day, enjoy yourself. We'll see you all again soon, and take care.